All right. Welcome to another Sandy Lane podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how do you gauge success in the life of a young person, a Gen Z, a millennial. How do they view success? All right. We have with us Robert today, and we're just really going to talk about that. When we look at what is success, what do you see? What does it look like? What do you think, Robert?
For me, success, I see a family with happy kids, a good paying job, a Christ-centered home, and where the parents could provide for the family. So, yeah, that's what I see as successful.
Okay. What about a certain amount of money? Like, do you think, success is a millionaire? Like, if somebody's, a millionaire, they're successful.
Financially, yes, I would say. Okay. Definitely successful.
Okay. Now, what about people that are wealthy, million, more than that? Do you think they're happy?
I think some are, but I don't think some are as well.
So if you reach that goal, you had $1 million, you had the car that you've always wanted, had a beautiful house, mansion or whatever that you've always kind of thought about, and you get it. You reach that plateau, you're there. Mm-hmm. Do you think at that point you would say, I'm happy?
I wouldn't say exactly happy. I would be happy. I would say that I would be happy if all those come to play. But I would say,
the Bible tells you, what would it profit a man if he gained the whole world, like he had everything he always wanted, and then he lost his soul?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So, as a young person, I'm curious whether or not they would rank that. So if you asked, just, a Gen Z, a millennial, you said, how would you see yourself succeeding in life? How many people would say, number one, I'm a Christian, or number one would be my faith in Christ. I know for a fact that if I have that, I'll be okay. If I'm good with God, I'm okay. I think most people would probably say, $1 million,
yeah,
beautiful house,
mm-hmm.
Maybe a boat or whatever.
Yeah.
I think those things would be what they would look for.
Definitely.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. So for me, it would definitely be my salvation. That is the number one success. Once I've obtained that, everything else is just extra. Mm-hmm. We have to live on this earth, so you want to live comfortably. You don't want to have to struggle financially, but having a lot of things is not necessarily success. Just the fact that you're comfortable and able to live day to day financially would be success for me. But I'm a little bit older, so I'm kind of on the other end of it. So I understand that spending a lot of time working is not necessarily success. Spending more time with family would be.
Right.
Having a successful marriage would be.
Yeah,
those are a lot of things that I would see as success.
I've talked to a lawyer, in particular, one guy, he worked and went to law school, and after all of that, he got his law degree, passed the bar, and it wasn't easy. I think it took him a couple of times or so to do it, but he passed the bar, and he said, he said, I'm not happy. He said, I reached that goal that I set for myself. And he says, whenever I tell people I'm a lawyer, he says, they're like, wow, and he says, that feels good. He said, but, I get in the car and I go home and I'm by myself and I'm not happy.
Right.
So, I think a lot of times people think that maybe some of the things that the goals that they set for themselves will, and a lot of times they spend years and decades achieving those goals that they set for themselves. And in the end, they're not happy.
Right.
In the end, there's no joy. In the end, it's just, okay, I got here. Now what? And a lot of wealthy people, once they get to $1 million, it says, I'm a millionaire. Now I want to be a billionaire. Or now, it never ends. They have to get to, that next thing. Mm-hmm. So they're never in a state where they're content.
Right.
Paul said he learned to be content in all ways, in all states that he
No
finds
matter
himself
where he
in.
was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. He learned to be content. And I think that is I think part of being happy is knowing you and accepting yourself the way you are. Not that you can't achieve more, but liking yourself, liking who you are, accepting who you are, and then, learning how to better yourself. But again, I think that starts with faith in God. I believe that starts with salvation, right? Addressing, like I said, Sunday, addressing your sin. Christians, believers, they're not in a state of denial. They don't need to seek out drugs and other ways to cope with who they are or the mistakes they've made. They can address it. They can look at sin head on in their lives and then realize that God loved them enough that he would die for that so they don't have to carry that, right? And so I think a Christian person ultimately should be the healthiest person mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So I think that's why that equates to success, that equates to contentment, that equates to happiness, right?
Yeah.
Versus this outside thing that has to be attained before I feel like I'm worthy or before I feel like I can be happy. I have to attain that thing. I have to attain that person before I can be happy.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. With most young people, I think maybe that comes with maturity. But, to save, I think one of the most valuable things you can have is to save somebody time, right? Because time you don't get back. Mm-hmm. So if somebody could save you 5 years, 10 years of spinning your wheels, trying to achieve something that ultimately is not going to get you where you want to be. Now, if your goal is to be a lawyer to help people, to be a lawyer to be an instrument for justice, those are noble goals. Right, and I think that's something that somebody should try to achieve.
Definitely,
but it doesn't necessarily equate to happiness.
I agree.
So, what other things do you think young people look for as far as when they see I'll be successful if I,
Yeah, like you were saying, reach financial goals, get their dream girl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just almost feel like where other people sort of want to live their life almost, or like get like other people like how can I explain it? Like,
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're living your life as if somebody's watching, like like almost like social media kind of thing for their approval.
Yes.
What you're in your mind,
seeking for other people's approval,
right?
And I don't think that brings happiness or joy. I think you can only find true happiness and joy in Jesus Christ, obviously. And I think that's the most important part to find happiness. I believe that correlates with being successful.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's the number one. And if you focus on that more than financially and worldly, materialistic things, that it'll definitely work out in your favor.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I would say that's the complete opposite mindset of Gen Z or people my age. I would probably say maybe 2% of people have that mindset. If that, a lot of other people definitely just want money, cars, big house, jewelry, just a whole bunch of worldly things that have really no meaning.
Yeah, I think, that's kind of that, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, that, Christ is your foundation. Now be careful what you lay on that foundation, right? Are you, are you laying on that foundation thing that can be easily destroyed or burned up? Or, what you do or how you live for Christ, right? Those are the things that will ultimately last and bring fulfillment, in your life. So, yeah, I do know, when you're younger, it's all right to want a pretty wife. It's all right to want a nice car. It's all right to want those things, but it's a different frame of mind to believe in those things. Those things house your happiness or your contentment in life.
Definitely.
Right. So I think that's a slippery slope when you go down that path.
Yes.
Then you become materialistic, and then it's not enough just to have the nice car. Eventually, that car is going to get old. You want the next one,
right?
And so I think we have to be very careful. I think young people have to be very careful, and to be a wise young person is to recognize those things. And do you feel like your friends, or not even just your friends, like in general, young people have that mindset or are wise enough to make those type of distinctions?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
it's just no.
Honestly, obviously there's
Yeah.
people that I know that do, and there's a handful of people in the world my age that do, but majority, no.
No. Okay. Yeah. That's good. That's not good that they don't.
Well, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But the information. Adrian, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I don't. Not. I think you guys are doing a pretty good job over there. I'm just kind of
Okay.
sitting back and enjoying.
Okay. Well, I think we can, tie things up, wrap it up right there. I just wanted to sort of address some of those things, and maybe it'll make somebody think. Maybe a young person might think twice about setting goals for themselves, and starting the foundation. Hopefully, starting with faith in Christ. So that's where I think life truly begins at that point. So anyway, if there's not any other comments or questions, good. All right, we'll wrap things up right there. Hopefully you've enjoyed what we talked about. And like I said, we'll be putting out more content. So tune in. God bless you. And have a wonderful day.